Hey guys, Frank Caronna with Natural Surf Technique. I've been a surf coach and teacher since 1989, so I'm working on 31 years coaching and teaching surfing. Welcome to my channel. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for the new content I'm going to bring your way. And let's get started. So let's get started with the right equipment and how you're going to get started in your journey with surfing. So we're starting from scratch. This is a video for beginners and hopefully help some of the others out there that are looking for good techniques how to enter surfing. So from here, being on the right equipment, this is a 9.6 soft top, which I use for most of my beginner clients who are maybe 160 pounds and bigger. And as I get smaller clients, I'll bring down the board size a little bit. But your first thing is to notice is the middle of the board is your balancing point. So this is where my front foot's gonna be and my back foot shoulder width back. So our overall goal is to stand on the board and ride away. So first, where do I want my feet and how do I get them there? So the first thing is front foot goes to the middle of the board, back foot shoulder width back to a few inches wider for balance. When I go to get on the board, I use these marks, middle of the board for balance and the eye line. So when I go to lay on the board, I'm always coming up from the back half of the board, not off the tail of the board, but the back half, and I'll slide up onto the board. So from here, I grab the middle, I'm in the water, I'm gonna slide up onto the board, and notice my chest is just in front of the middle of the board. So from here, notice my hands are in the middle of the board. So here, I'm in my balanced position. So from here, I'm gonna start off at least being in the right spot of the board. Now from this point, you notice my feet are together. The reason why your feet have to be together is so you control the tail of the surfboard. If your feet are out and you're paddling for a wave and that wave comes up, it's going to want to lift the tail. If your feet are out, it's going to lift it too much, the nose is going to go under. Then what happens is most people start scooting back on the board because they see that the nose is going under too much, when all it really was your knees and feet not being together. So understand this part first, being on the right spot of the board. Now from here, there's 3 gears to paddling, okay? And you want to develop these gears because you do have to change speeds just like a bicycle. You're going through first gear, second gear, third gear. Third gear is when you're catching a wave most of the time. And when you're on a big board, you're gonna find that third gear is gonna help you glide. When you're on a bigger board, what happens is after you go through third gear, your board develops a certain amount of speed. It allows you time to put your hands in the right spot. When you're in this spot, your board's still moving forward. The smaller the board you got, and you're riding, as soon as you're done paddling, unless you're going down a wave, the board's gonna wanna stop. So you wanna keep that glide speed as a beginner. And that's the reason a lot of people ride longboards for a reason, and it's fun. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a longboarder. I ride longboards, all my friends do, and it's a great part of surfing. So from here, if you notice my toes are down and my heel of the palm is in the middle of the board. So when I lift up, I have balance. This is the best part about this, is if my hands are like this, I'm gonna start rolling a hip, okay? So going from your paddles to this position is one of the hardest things I've recognized with beginners, and even some of the intermediate surfers I work with. I notice they start paddling really fast and all of a sudden their hands just go to the first available spot. Well, that influences your hip turn, and it also influences a little bit of weakness going to your feet. So here I'm strongest when my hands are in this position and I have better balance and I'm gonna have better overall technique. So if you notice, I use a slide up technique that I developed in the mid-90s for a reason. It keeps you down the middle. And if you notice here from this position, I'm in a pretty balanced position, and it's gonna be more favorable going into a wave when you're comfortable with knowing your technique is good. So from here, when I lift up, I go from here, and I'm gonna go with my right foot forward, which is a goofy foot. Left foot forward would be natural foot. So that means I'm trying to get my right knee and foot between my hands. So when I come up, notice that my knees and toes stay against the board. I'm trying to slide them over the deck. This is how I'm practicing. In the water, it changes a little bit, but on the land, this is how you wanna practice developing good technique. So from here, I'm starting off with first gear, doggy paddle. Second gear is reaching further. Third gear is maximum speed, taking a big deep breath and then breathing out, looking where you want to go. Don't look down, reach your chin out, look where you're going. From here, now I've caught the wave, and let's say I want to ride to the left. I start influencing a little bit of a left turn. I put my hands here and I start looking left, okay? So from here, if you notice, my hands are even. My palm, the heel of my palm is in the middle of the board. From here, I'm here going up. I'm pulling my knees and toes across the deck of the board. So as I slide forward, I'm pulling forward. Now I'm gonna shoot. And notice my front foot comes to the middle of the board. My back foot comes up shoulder width back. A lot of times people come up and they'll end up with this position or this position. So you have to turn in, and what you're trying to do is get this stance to be a little bit wider than your shoulders for balance. So when you have your shoulders a little bit wider for balance, you're gonna have a lot more confidence, obviously. But I'm gonna keep my weight over the front foot, and I'm gonna shift back. See this? Okay? And notice I surf with the instep of my foot. This helps the board excel and progress faster across the wave or in the whitewash. As a beginner, you're gonna probably start learning how to do a couple things in the whitewash, like learning how to generate speed to get going. You can bounce, or you can reach down and do these pumping motions, okay? And it's a good technique to teach you. So once you do learn how to ride a wave, you've developed that skill of already learning how to progress the board. It's what we call pumping on the surfboard, okay? So it's a lot of rail to rail. Now from this point, you're in your stance. I always keep my weight forward, not past the front foot, but over the front foot. And then when I want to make a slight turn, I shift back. If I want to turn really sharp, I would have to do this in here, okay? So moving your feet back is going to allow the board to turn in a tighter radius, which is the next level of your surfing, and we'll talk about later in other videos. But for now, just developing a good technique, solid technique down the middle of the board and getting your feet to the right spot. And this is what today's video is all about, is how to train yourself to stay down the middle of the board, come up with good balance. And if you notice, I don't hunch over this way. I stay up, I get my back nice and straight. My shoulders are open, okay? I'm in like a 45 degree like this. Here it'd be 90, so I'm in 45. Imagine a tight wire walker. If he's walking a tight wire, he's not walking with his shoulders parallel with the wire, okay? So he's not doing this kind of a thing with his, if he has something on his shoulders for balance, he's like this, and he turns, and he's walking like this across the wire, right? So this is gonna allow you better balance. So I see a lot of people out there, and they think when they come up, their shoulders are parallel with the surfboard, and that's not the case. When you first come up for balance, you wanna be a little more in this 45 degree, so you have better balance. When I wanna turn the board this way, I shift back and I do this. I don't rotate. All I do is lean. The board has curve in it. So when you lean, it's gonna wanna turn like a spoon, kind of going through water. If you took a spoon and turned it on its side, it would go this way, okay? Or that way. So from here, just notice, turning isn't rotating your upper body. Turning is shifting your weight back, keeping your weight forward, but putting your hand in the water or just reaching out and keeping this hand on this side, okay? That's gonna help the turn. When you wanna go with the heel side, you're doing this, you're shifting back and you're rotating like this. Sometimes raising that front toe off the board will help influence the turn backward to your backside. So surfing with your back to the wave is called backside. When you're surfing to the front, your body facing the wave, that's front side. So you wanna understand that if the wave's bigger on this side or the more of the power's on this side, you're gonna wanna go to the right, which is going this way. That would be my backside as a goofy foot. If I wanna go left, that means the wave's pushing from this side and I wanna go this way. So to turn and cut left, I'd wanna shift my weight back and just lean over this back toe. Your front foot's a guider. That's the best way to start. As you improve, obviously things change a lot as you get better at surfing. But for a beginner, this is the greatest way to get started, okay? Understand, here is for balance and speed. This is for turning, okay? So that shift back to the back leg will help you turn. As you improve and wanna make sharper turns, you're going to move your feet back and shuffle back and then do the turn, okay? Then you'll move back forward. So turning is basically going from here, turn this way, or turn this way. Knowing that once the turn's made, I have to get back to this place on the board. So you always want to say, here, move back to turn, move back forward once the turn's complete to get going again. Okay, so these are beginner techniques to help you understand how to get to the next level, okay? So the other thing is, notice the feet and knees track down the middle. So I'll put sand up here, okay? So by putting sand up here, I can see my track when I go to get up. So from this position here, I'm back in this position. So if you're on the beach practicing on a soft, one thing I must say is if you're on a hard board and you have wax, do not try practicing going up to your feet like this, because the wax is gonna make it, it's gonna be sticky. It's gonna be hard to develop this technique on a wax surfboard. So this is another reason why the soft tops are really good. You can slide over them. And if you're at home, you practice. You need to be going up to your feet 100 times a week to really get good at this. So if you surf 2 times a week and you catch 15 waves, during that week, find time to do 85 slide ups that turn into the pop-up. And I'm gonna share that with you, how to go from a slide up to a pop-up using the same technique, but I'll help break it down a little bit. But for now, until you develop this coordination, this is how you're gonna start learning. So catching the wave, whitewash when you're first beginning, start on the beach, practice your technique of going up, go out in the whitewash, turn the board toward the beach first, then lay on it. Controlling the nose of the board directly at the beach with the whitewash is really important. Sometimes in the whitewash, you might even actually move back a little bit, okay? Because the power's already broken and it's a big wall of whitewash coming at you, so the power's already pretty much there, and it's gonna wanna raise the tail even higher. Sometimes you catch a whitewash bigger than you want, or there's 2 whitewashes building and it kind of slams forward. So sometimes I encourage my students to move back 1 inch on the soft board or hard board, just to kind of help depreciate that power from the whitewash. So from there, notice my feet, knees down the middle. I'm here in this position here. As I lift up, I have momentum going forward. So being able to paddle, deep breath, reach, breathe out, keeping your chin low, looking where you're going, hands back, lift, slide through. If you look, my track is right down the middle. My feet ended up right down the middle. I didn't start twisting until my feet were almost in position. And this is a good beginner technique habit to get into, okay? You want to develop this straight down path and twist in. The other techniques are going up. So there's quite a few techniques. So I see a lot of people teach like this. See that technique? I see even this technique. I try to stop from teaching those techniques because those are bad habits to have to fix. But a lot of times you'll see people go like this, and they'll go like this, and then like that. As you can see in the video, what do you want to do is go up in one motion. You do not want to break down your pop-up and slide up incrementally, 1 step at a time. You want to shoot through in one motion, and beginners can do it. I've worked with a lot of beginners and you can do it in one motion. It's not a jump. A lot of people teach this. You do not want to jump. You develop this habit jumping, your arm strength's not going to develop as well as it should. Plus, if you're on a smaller board, your feet are hanging off the back. What's going to happen is now you have no leverage. So let's say my feet are way back here on the tail of the board. When I go to get up, I can't jump. I don't have anything to put my feet on. So learning to jump up is not the best thing. There's a couple reasons why. Jumping up is going to make you create distance between your board and your feet. That's the board's going down a wave. There's reasons why you don't want to jump, is because if the board's going down the wave, it might turn a little one way or the other and your feet are going to come up in this position or back here. So jumping up is something I used to teach back in the early 90s until I developed the slide up technique. And you just watch how I get onto the board and I go up to my slide up technique. It goes from there, paddling, practice paddling, looking where you're going. That is much more effective and going to train your body to be much better going up in a traditional pop-up than it is if you're taking increment steps, like stepping up 1 foot at a time, jumping, and all these things. So that's why I prefer this technique over the other ones, and I've seen the results. So that's how you do the slide up. My track is down the middle. It's a great technique, and I hope you guys give it a shot. Anyway, so this is the first video for an introduction into surfing, practicing on the right equipment, how to practice at home. You always want to start on the beach, practice this a few times, practice your paddling. Watch that you don't paddle real fast and your hands don't go to the wrong spot. Make sure you get those hands here. So you have to work on moving your arms fast to do this. If you just lay on the board and put your hands here, there's no training process going on. So you have to practice learning how to take a couple paddles, take a deep breath, reach, 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 hands here, lift up, go up, okay? So now, I'm just gonna show you how the slide up goes into the normal hop up that you see all the best surfers out there. So remember, this is a training period, you know, just like riding a bicycle, training wheels to riding a bicycle is basically, this is training wheels that are gonna teach you good habits. So from the slide up, as I do it one more time, I'm in the right spot, my feet are together, I'm paddling, I take a deep breath, paddle fast, breathing out. Now I've caught the wave, hands here, lift, right down the middle, twist in, okay? Foot's here, shift back, but I'm keeping my weight over the front foot for balance, shifting back to create a turn. Sometimes you have to shift back as you're dropping down a wave so the nose doesn't go under. If you're going really fast, the nose will catch. So if you take off on a wave, like if you're in the whitewash, you're okay doing what we just did. But if you catch an actual small wave or a bigger wave and it has a lot of momentum going, even if you come up and you get that foot on the front foot, you have to come up and shift back a little bit. That nose will go under. And your overall goal should be every time you go to your feet, you should influence a lean to the left and to the right. Okay, so if I'm going up and the wave's bigger on my right side and I start leaning a little left, I know if I keep my eyes that way and I come up and stand down the middle, I'm gonna have better balance and I'm gonna have better control, and that nose isn't gonna catch as effectively. If I go straight down, it's a good chance that tail's raising up as the wave's pushing and that nose will catch, and you'll think that it was more about technique when it was actually just timing and not learning how to set the edge, the rail of the board in one direction or the other. So even if you're catching whitewash, practice leaning a little bit, going to your feet, not just straight ahead. So anyway, that's the first step to learning how to surf, guys. So I'm going through the steps here through my book that you can purchase on Amazon under Beginner Surf Techniques, Natural Surf Technique. And this is the first step, buying the right board. How do I go up to the board properly? How do I go to my feet properly? So you're doing the training techniques. So the one thing that I want to focus on, okay, so here's the slide up. So here's the slide up technique. So from here, I'm paddling, deep breath, reach, 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 caught the wave, hands back, lift up, looking where I'm going. Sweep right through, okay? Takes momentum. If you break it down incrementally, it's gonna be really hard. You wanna do it in one motion. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour, just don't stop during the middle of the movement. Now, how this translates into the natural pop-up. So here's the natural pop-up. So let's say I'm riding a short board and my feet are hanging off the back. So people will always ask me like, oh, you know, my feet are hanging off the back, how do I do the slide up? Well, you can't do the slide up with your feet hanging off the back, but you can still practice it to train your body to do the right thing. So see how my feet are up like this? So if I'm in a short board and I'm paddling into a wave, here's the natural pop-up that you see all your best surfers. They go from here, they go here, they pull forward, and then they shoot through, okay? So slide up is a training tool to get you to do what I just did. It helps bring strength to your shoulders. It also helps coordinate your body to stay down the middle of the surfboard. And that's it, guys. That's how you're gonna start learning to surf, and hopefully this helps a lot of you beginners out there. And maybe a few intermediate surfers out there didn't have a solid technique that they can count on. I would say give this one a shot. There's a lot of techniques out there, but this is the one I prefer. And anyway, that's it from Frank Caronna-Natural Surf Technique. Hope you enjoy the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, guys. And that's it. Take care, guys.